This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great. You know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself, definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, so thinking about truth. Okay, how much truth are people willing to handle?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wonder if in the pursuit of truth, you hit this point where you're just like, oh, this is as far as I'll go on this thing. And then you just give yourself like a comfortable level of acceptance wherever you're at.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Or like, do you think that truth is something that most people can't handle, most people don't want? Like, is truth difficult to look at?
Sometimes, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, what is that mental block stopping someone from like really looking at the honest situation?
Because of how honest it is, that situation. That's the problem.
Really, eh? All right, that's so weird. It's like such a weird paradox onto itself. It's like, it's so true that you can't look at it because it's true.
Yeah,
But it's like,
yeah.
but do we want truth, or do we want like, do we like, it is more comfortable to like stay in a soft bed, you know? Because
Mhm.
you don't want like the honesty of the situation, or maybe you do want the honesty, and then you're like, you know what, that's cool with me, right? We've always said like, if you can hear the truth, but then you're willing to accept it, it's like, okay, you chose your path, you know, it's fine. But
Mhm.
like, to not look at things objectively, to me, is one of the weirdest like hurdles that I don't know why we just stop doing that. Like, why do people stop doing that? You know, when you're like in school, right? You're like, okay, like let's really learn, you know, everything that education has to offer. And then at some point people are like, they kind of just turn off. They're like, this is all I need to know, or like we place a lot of emphasis on truth seeking and like knowledge building and like scholastically, right? But we don't really do that as a society, as like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like, if all signs are pointing to this thing, why is it not real? Like, well, why is it something that you're not willing to engage with or like utilize for the better? It's like, okay, cool. You see a sign and you're like, okay, the sign says that it's a dead end road with a cliff. This one says that it's onto the freeway. Okay, I'm going to go on the freeway. You know what I mean? If it's like that dire and so obvious, it's like, why would you think, oh yeah, it says cliff and dead end, but it's probably like the sign's probably lying to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Actually, wait, here's the best analogy for this. I'm like, hey, how do I get to that place? And then you tell me, take 2 lefts and a right.
Right.
And then my Google Maps is saying, take 2 rights and a left. So
Mhm.
it's the complete opposite of what you said. And then it's like, the way I'm looking at this is like, you're not listening to the Google Maps, bro. You're listening to hearsay of like the other person who told you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
And it's just
yeah,
like, bro, look at the evidence. Dude, the thing is saying this right here.
Mhm.
And like, no, but he said. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like a stupid example. People are like, oh, that's so dumb. Like, it's obvious you just listen to the GPS. It's like, Would you? Because societally, we're not really doing that. There's
Hmm.
so many signs that are like, hey, this is probably a bad idea. But, like,
Yeah.
what is that? That's so weird to me.
Because I think that people may think that they understand the world better than somebody else.
But even if it's like, this is a GPS thing, bro, this thing's telling you this thing.
Yeah.
This is a knowledge expert in this thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro,
Sure.
it's a
Sure.
knowledge expert.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
like you're a freaking knowledge expert. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But like you're willing to listen to like the rhetoric because if it's an emotional, it's emotions. It's an emotional based decision versus an objective one.
Hmm.
You know? Like I think that's really what it is. It's like our emotions get in the way of being able to think objectively and logically. So we have a hard time accepting truth.
Right. Yeah.
You would agree with
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then why on a mass scale do we just like let this happen? You know?
I don't know. We just do.
It's
It's just.
like comfort or like you
I
just
think
don't
it's
maybe you don't
comfort.
care enough.
It's
Like I'm not sure.
Yeah. It depends on what it is, but I think it just it's the comfort level. Yeah.
It's like hey, they've got it. Oh well, no, but if you're looking at maybe it's just harder to listen to the GPS than like the rhetoric. Like basically, like this is an analogy for so many things in life. One of which being UFOs and UAPs. Like it's pretty freaking obvious that the information's out there. We'll get into that. And then like, did you see the 500-page report about COVID? Like
Sure.
I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know if it's 100% true. Like I didn't fully look into it. I just saw Joe Rogan talk about it, and I was like, okay, if that's true, that's pretty weird, you know. And like the thing about how like it most likely came from a lab leak. Do you
Hmm.
see that? They
Sure.
said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so but during the time of COVID, if you had brought that up, that was like taboo. Like we were all being sold like the wet market idea, and then now
Hmm.
to find out like, oh, it was most likely, and then you're like, well, we weren't listening to the experts who were trying to tell us the whole time. You were just like suppressing like a like a like a truth because you didn't want it to get out of hand. You wanted to manage the narrative because then that would bring up so many other things. Like if they're like, yeah, it's most likely a lab leak, then the next question is, well, whose lab is it? How did it get leaked? How many of these things are out there? Can this happen again in the future? Like all these different questions. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? And then that like creates like public outcry.
Hmm.
But then you wait till later and like you find out, oh, that was true, but who's going to read the report? Like they dropped this 500-page thing
Hmm.
and like I didn't even hear about it. Nobody's like, oh yeah, they dropped the report. Turns out it was a lab leak. And you're like, but we're all thinking, oh, wet market still. You know what I mean? It's like controlling the narrative.
Right.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't. I don't know if that was conclusion that it was going to be web market. I know that was spread around the
Wait, what?
time. No. Both were being
No, no,
talked
but
about though, right? We even talked about
right.
that, right?
No, for sure, for sure. But it's like if you had brought up the lab leak hypothesis, people were like, "Oh, you're like a conspiracy theorist, or like you're fringe, or you're not listening to the mainstream narrative. Just look at what they're saying." And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
bro, other scientists, like, it wasn't like I just heard Joe Rogan say this, bro. I was literally listening to other podcasts during that time, and I was like, they're all saying the way it like evolved was too fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like virologists that they're like this thing could not have like
Yeah.
organically been
Sure. Sure.
created,
Yeah.
and then those things were being suppressed. Like nobody's really talking about that. If you thought it was a lab leak, it's like it was like being a climate change denier kind of thing, and
Mm-hmm. I don't
you
remember
know what
how
I'm saying,
much it was like
dude.
that
i
though.
i remember it because I received it.
No,
I
but I
remember it.
I understand that. I was like, but then if those are like the headlines, right? The headlines are like this kind of thing or that. But if you read the articles, they're saying that they don't,
No,
right?
no,
Isn't that
but
the case too?
like no, 100% no, because they were. I was paying attention to this because I was the only one like, hey guys, the scientists are saying this. Remember when everyone's getting the second vaccine? I'm like, I don't know about this. Like a lot of the scientists were saying this, and then like so many pro-vaccine people were like attacking me. Remember, I was like, I'm only sticking with two because that's what's on the passport. It allows you to like go around,
Hmm.
you know, from my like friend group, like from my personal network, like people were like, "Oh, you're weird because you were not following the narrative." I'm like, guys, just look at the scientists. I'm just listening to the actual scientists talk about this thing.
Hmm.
I'm not listening to the news because the news can be like skewed. I'm listening to what the scientists are saying,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Right. So that's why like for me it's like a very like pressing like you're like I don't really remember but I'm like I remember because I was on the opposite side and I was getting like crapped on all the time
For
for like
yeah, I agree with the
you know
vaccine thing. I know, I remember that, but like
no not just the
the
vaccine but it's like even like if you had brought up that idea like so many of the
because
scientists
it
were
went
talking about how
through
they were
because we went
yeah
through different things. I remember that the whole lab leak, but they couldn't go research into the lab because China wasn't allowing them to go in to the
Yeah, I remember
building.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah,
but then the scientists were saying like, okay, but if we just look at the biology of how viruses work,
yeah,
it
yeah.
actually makes no sense that it would have logic. And I'm like, okay, you're a virologist, bro.
Hmm.
You most likely know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and
You know
like
what I mean?
what they were studying there, like what was the school or the lab that was in Wuhan, right?
Coronaviruses.
So
It was
yes,
about no, no, no. Like we
right.
laugh about it now. We're like, yeah, but it's like no, but they were like we laugh about it like it's like it was funny now because we look back, 2020 hindsight. But during the time of it, it's like, hey man, like this scientist is literally saying that there's like a coronavirus lab, and it's like and it came from that same place. So it's like most likely, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're not feeling the heat of it right now. So it's like you can look back and like joke about it. We can joke about it, but like in that time, it was such a hot button issue. Like people are being like deplatformed for saying that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And like, but if you look back now, you're like, dude, that's crazy that it turned out they were right,
Hmm.
you know? And then even with like the vaccine injury thing, did you see like Biden
But
pardon?
even with today's that report, you said that they said most
Most
likely.
likely.
Yeah, most likely.
Okay.
Right. I'm not saying no, no, no,
Like
no.
they had
But
to put
that's
it away.
yeah, yeah. But no, no, no. I'm saying, but that's how it's supposed to be said, right? It's not
Right.
100% until you can actually study it in the lab, like go and
Because
see
nobody's
what
gonna be
was.
sued. Because nobody's gonna be sued for it.
Hmm.
Because once you say it was, you're suing someone. That's why you have to stick with it most likely was.
Hmm.
You can't come out and say, yeah, because what's the next step? All right, let's shut down that lab, bro. Okay,
Right.
but that's in China. Okay, well, we need to do something about it. It's like,
Hmm.
well, what are you gonna do about it? It's out of our jurisdiction. Wait, it's out of your jurisdiction? Who's funding this? Oh, it's funded in part by the US government. Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Like like there's a whole can of worms once you say something is fact. That's why you have to say it as like most likely,
Right.
right? So like taking into account like the spin and the narrative, it's like bro, we're being lied to. I don't know what's going on. Like what if this happens again, you know? Like we're dealing with the
Hmm.
UFO issue and then everyone talks about Project Bluebeam and it's like, well, what if it is Project Bluebeam? And then like people are like, "No, how can you not like remember what they did during COVID? Like they protected us, whatever." It's like, dude, they literally have documents stating that they're going to stage a UFO like battle, you know?
Hmm.
It's like it's that's why I just Google Project Bluebeam. But then it's like if we are willing to accept what happened to us then and we didn't learn from it, it's like, dude, you're not learning from your mistakes, bro.
Right. I think the point of
You
the
know what I'm saying?
500 report, I think in the title of it was to learn from it. Was something in like steps to something to learn from.
Yeah, okay, totally, totally, totally. But like, what about the pardoning? Like Biden pardoning those organizate like the manufacturers of any wrongdoing going forward, he pardoned them. It's like, wait, that's kind of weird. Like for vaccine
Hmm.
injuries, like it makes sense. Like I get it. We had to do what we had to do at the time, so you can't blame them for it. Whatever. But it is a little weird that this 500-page report came out, and it's like, oh, it most likely was a lab leak, and then you're like, wait, those people that said that were being silenced for saying it was a lab leak, there was something to it. And then now, what about the people that are talking about vaccine injuries? And then you just pardon them. So
Hmm.
it's like, bro, like is there a high degree of that? Like, were the people that were worried about everything that was happening during COVID correct? You know, like now that we look back, we're like, ooh, they had some validity, even though we like cast them out as
Sure.
pariahs because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
weren't following the main narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or no, like maybe there's a side I'm not seeing.
Mm, well, I don't know what the.
Like I'm hoping to be wrong, but
No, no,
like
no.
I
I
need to
understand what
like
you're
be wrong.
saying. No,
Yeah.
no, no. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I think these reports are good as a lessons to what we're wrong, because you're doing
Okay.
things at the time of with limited information
Okay.
or with a lot of um, incorrect information too, right?
Yeah.
So that's why these reports generally come out after, because only then you can actually see when the dust settles what was actually correct.
Facts. Totally. I see what you're saying. But like, think about. I don't know how true this was. I think this was in the report as well. But like the distancing didn't actually do anything, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The masks also didn't do anything.
Yeah, but
Do you see
the
that as well?
right, but this is coming out after. So in those times, you don't know how this is spreading, or
Facts. No, no.
right?
I agree
Yeah.
with you. I agree with you. But is it overly what do you call that? It's like the word's like draconian, but I don't want to use like such a huge
Sure.
word, but
Yeah,
it's
I
like
understand. Yeah.
overly restrictive. So like, hey, you shut down the entire world. Hey, you made us all get vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you made us all wear masks. And it's like, dog, your information wasn't true or it was incorrect, and I did all those things. It's
Right.
like that's what I mean about the whole
So this is
like when
yeah, yeah, yeah.
what
When you were saying that, it's like okay, it makes sense if it's like one or two countries did that kind of craziness. It was the whole world that was doing that.
exactly. But that's the crazier this is the crazier part about the whole thing. What they're saying is like the other conspiracy theorists are like, look what you can do with a virus. Now look what you can do with an alien invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Like our first thing was COVID, like well 9/11. And then it was like, oh, the war on terror. And it's like WMDs. Oh, it actually turns out he didn't have any. Okay, cool. And then like, oh, COVID, global lockdown. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, it looks like aliens are invading us. Oh, global lockdown. You know what I mean? And it's like, are we being shepherded towards this weird um totalitarian universal? It sounds crazy and conspiratorial, but I'm just like, it's a little weird. It's a little weird when you look at the things that are like have happened, because those are fact.
Sure.
Now we can look back and it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're
Mm-hmm.
not even guessing forward. It's like you look back and you're like, oh, this turned out to be the information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does that not worry people or like you or it kind of worries me? I'm like, oh, it's kind of weird, you know?
No, because it's again when you're in the heat of a moment, you don't have you can only act based on what information you have, and it could be limited,
Yeah,
right?
totally. So then they're like, hey, alien invasion, everyone stay inside.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, bro, is that really aliens? Did you create those crafts?
Sure.
Like,
Right.
there are so many
Yeah.
other
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
And I think that the people that are doing the biggest service are the people on YouTube who are like putting out all this information about like we have recovered crafts, we've been reverse engineering them. This is not new.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, okay, then it's like, are these just stagecraft vehicles? Like that's what Stephen Greer's calling them, stagecraft vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just there to freak us out, you know? And then like I was listening to Joe Rogan with Ryan Graves, and he was saying that like Joe Rogan was saying that like if aliens were gonna come, the best thing to do would just like slowly indoctrinate people into being used to UFOs in the sky. You use ours, people are like, what is that? I don't know. Oh, see how the world reacts, have them go away. Because Ryan Graves is saying like we're all paying attention to this one incident, but it's like this has happened last year, the year before, around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why we're paying attention to this now is because it's right over New York.
Is it in New Jersey?
Same area. Yeah, New York, New Jersey.
Right.
New Jersey's like just a little lower. New York, yeah, sure. Or New Jersey, yeah, sure. But like they're pretty much connected. Like that region.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So like with that, it's like, is this like some weird sign? Like that actually made sense to me when Joe Rogan was like, if they are coming, and you slowly do it like this, because he analogized it to masks. Like
Hmm.
if we see somebody with a mask now, you're like, whatever, it's just dude with a mask. But during COVID, we're like, oh, it's kind of weird. Why are you in a mask? Now I see people with masks all the time. You're like, whatever,
Hmm.
right? So it's
Sure.
like, is that the same idea of what's going on here? Which is like kind of freaky when you think about it.
Well, they got to go based on evidence. So the things I've been seeing, it maybe just be like there's a ton of drone um, like manufacturing things in that region of New Jersey,
Okay. Okay.
and there are tests of drones that have been reported before that these things are going to be going on.
Okay.
So, and then it's like then they're matching
I'm
it
I'm
with
I'm
they're
watching
matching it
you, right?
with yeah.
I'm waiting to see you try and explain this situation using the public narrative right now. I'm like,
There's not a
there's no way
public
you're gonna do this.
narrative.
Okay, so
No, no,
keep going,
I'm
yeah.
going based on what these people have been said. So, and then it's like
But who said it though? Who said it though?
a thing on TikTok.
Okay. But who are the
Uh,
people on TikTok, bro?
no, I'm just seeing what they're going based on, right? Which I
Okay.
haven't heard anybody else say.
Okay.
So
Okay.
then it's like they're mentioning the lights. If things have lights, then they're following
Yeah,
FAA
totally.
rules. So that's all that I have. Yeah.
Okay. So I've listened to like I get the narrative of Stephen Greer, which is like stagecraft. I'm like, I don't know, that seems weird to me. Like trying to do Project Bluebeam when the internet's so prevalent, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't work. And then I listened to Sean Ryan just had because they're all trying to figure it out right now. Like all
Sure.
the people I'm like listening to, you know. That's why Joe Rogan had Ryan Graves on, and then Sean Ryan had the military defense contractor. He's like the $1 trillion. He worked with Elon Musk in the past. He
Hmm.
was like for PayPal. I forgot his name, but it's the most recent episode, and he makes drones for the army. And his company's like worth trillions of dollars. He's like one of the main defense
Hmm.
contractors. And what he was saying is like, he's like, I don't want to speak at a turn because the when he was doing the episode, he's like, I haven't texted my friends yet who work in this stuff because like I might say something and then like I'll text them and they're like, you dummy, it's just this thing. And he's like, oh, whoops.
Right.
So what he was saying is like the only thing he can go off of is their actions and them not shooting it down.
Hmm.
It's either theirs or it's something they just can't control. There's no way it's like a different country. And he talked
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this he talked about this like new weapon he developed. It's not really a weapon, so like remember EMPs during the time of like remember like Ocean's 11 and they
Sure.
shut down the city through like an EMP,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Cuz like the power shuts off. So he was saying how one drone warfare is the future. They're not going to use humans anymore. And two, they have a directed energy EMP now.
Hmm.
So what they were doing before is they were shooting like missiles that cost millions of dollars to make at drones that are like $10. Okay. Well, my light is like so weird. So they were shooting. So the cost ratio was like incorrect. So for a $10 drone, you're shooting $1 million missile at it. Makes no sense. So what he invented was an EMP thing, and it's like it costs nearly nothing, and you just like keep rapid bursting the air, and then you just shut down any electrical flying thing.
Hmm.
Okay, so he's very knowledgeable in the drone space, I would say, right? And there's really only two outcomes here. It's either ours and they're keeping it super secret, or it's aliens. And one thing that he was saying is that where they're coming from is not they've tracked remember like even Trump was like we know where they're coming from, so allegedly they've tracked them across the sea and they know where it is, so it's like okay, that's not even in American waters then, so it's like what is this thing? And then Joe Rogan brought up, remember France brought this up a long time ago, like what if they're like
Oh yeah. Yeah.
underwater
Underground.
aliens, right? And then Joe Rogan's like wait, what if they're like they've been living with us the entire time, like a sea civilization, and they're
Hmm.
just making themselves known to us now, like Atlanteans that went underground. which
Sure.
could be the case too. So it's like, what is happening in Jersey is like 2024 into 2025. Like we're gonna like learn so much about where we are in the universe. I think so.
Hmm.
Or do you think we're just gonna forget it? Like, with like everything that's going on, it's like, is this just gonna have another news cycle thing? It's like, oh, there's crazy
Yeah,
lights
well,
and
I think it might be.
that would be so insane to
Yeah,
me.
no, I think it might be.
Why?
I
Why?
think I
Just
think
because
it's
people are
just
so
I think
fickle?
if sorry.
Because people are so fickle. Like, why?
No, because it's kind of how it works too. Even with the media frenzy about it, is the same ideal. It's getting people's attention to watch their news things.
But okay, but what about the people like posting about it? I just don't know.
Like
It's like
unless the
crazy.
only the way that it'll I think continue to talk is if we get more information. If we're not getting more information, it's going to die down.
Okay, but you know who's jumping into office right after this?
Hmm.
Like, it's Trump, and that guy. I don't think he's gonna keep it a secret, bro. Like, he seems like a very like he went on. He's like, I don't know why the military's not shooting this down, and then the next thing was like, oh, we know where they're coming from. So it's like, okay, there's something going on. You know,
Sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like, like I don't know. I've been feeling this weird impending like apprehension over what's coming next, simply
Hmm.
because it's like, are we about to like totally radicalize our understanding of reality?
We'll see. Yeah.
Like, but what do you think? Like, do you think so, or you're like, nah, there's no way.
Radicalize? Like in what sense?
Yeah. Like it'll be like, yeah, aliens exist. They're all around us at all times. We're part of a galactic empire. Yada yada yada.
I don't know. I mean, he could have done that in this first 4 years. He talked a little bit about it on Trump, right? But he didn't really go into it, right?
For sure. But the crazier part is now they're seeing it over in New Jersey. So it's like now you open up a whole can of worms. Like, what is that? And if they're like, oh, it's drones using like, because what they're saying is like, even the drone dude, he's like, it's literally up there for like untold amounts of hours. This would have powered down. Like we don't have anything that can like just constantly generate that much energy,
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, if you're saying that, something to that, right? But no,
I
like
mean,
if he's like, I don't
is
know
that
how
the
this
case? I
energy
don't know if
source
they're
works.
staying there
It's
for hours. I don't know
okay.
if that's the case.
That is, dude. That's the case. Like that's what they're. All right.
No,
Like
I'm
if
saying
that's
I don't
what
know if that's the case. That's what I'm saying. Is that the case? Is that the
this
actual
is this
evidence?
is the case. I'm gonna tell you the evidence, and
Yeah.
you tell
Okay.
me what you think. Okay. So there are so everything that has propulsion emits a heat signature.
Hmm.
Okay, so there's a thing out there above New Jersey that is not emitting a traditional heat signature, but it's staying up there for hours.
Hmm.
The house is working. So either like you've created some crazy energetic, so like energy source that you haven't told us about that emits no heat and it like is continuous forever, or this is some like weird alien craft, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
The
Right.
what they're saying is like there are traditional ones out in the sky. Those are the ones that have lights, and we'll get into that in a second. Those are the ones that have lights, but then there are also other ones that are just like UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. Like just the heat signature is not there, so like that's weird. And then the turns that it's making require a lot of energy, so like that's weird. And then it's there for hours, so like that's ultra weird because you're doing turns that like require a lot of energy, and you're still there for hours,
Hmm.
and you don't have a heat signature. So it's like, so what are these?
Right.
It's not a traditional drone. So like with that information, you're like, oh, what's the actual information? Like, what do you think now?
Yeah. Tech that they're not mentioning what it is. Right. We
Okay,
mentioned that last time.
totally.
Yeah.
So if it's tech that they're not mentioning, then the next question, just like how you can't say, oh yeah, it's 100% from Wuhan, because then you'd be like, well, how many viruses are you working on? Who's funding this?
Hmm.
What if this happens again? Right? So
Yeah.
many
Yeah. Yeah.
questions.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the next question becomes, what tech is that, and
Right.
how come we can't commercially use it?
Hmm.
Right?
Sure. Sure.
So then it's like we're either going to get the cyberpunk future where they're like, yeah, this is our tech and it has infinite energy. There's no heat source, so like we can commercialize it. Or we're like, dog, these are aliens and they're coming to visit. You see what I'm saying? Like that's why I'm
Sure.
like
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're
at
saying.
both ends of this, there's no good like there's no like unparadigm shifting. There's like no way we can not shift our paradigm post this event.
So yeah,
Unless we just forget about it. Unless we're just like the whole 500-page thing and nobody gives a crap about
no,
it,
no,
you're like,
no.
whatever.
I get what you're saying, but then it's like how we said like, oh, the Wuhan lab or the wet markets, right?
Yeah,
So in this area, this region of New Jersey, there's a ton of drone companies.
totally. Yeah, for sure.
So is the likelihood a drone company?
No. Right. No, ignore that. Yeah, sure. Like, let's say it's ours. But like what I said was it's using so much energy, it's staying for hours,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got
Yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
non-traditional heat signature. So it's like, okay, sure, like let's say it's ours. Whatever. Yeah,
But
drone
isn't
company.
that like because of the fact that there's so many drone companies in that area?
I don't know. I didn't see
Oh,
the
that's
drone thing.
that's what I've heard that there's a ton of drone
Okay.
companies in that area that these things are happening in.
So, right. Just like, okay, they created a virus out of Wuhan. That's like an underlying thing. The actual question becomes like, well, how many viruses did you work on? What is the likelihood that this
Mm-hmm.
will happen again? How do we protect people?
Right.
Right? So like you're focusing on like drone companies. I'm like, a drone company, sure. But like it's like what's the energy? How do we commercialize this? And
Mm-hmm.
like why is it you see what I mean? Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
other questions.
Yeah, that'll
So I'm
come
like,
like so if it's part of like these private military things,
yeah,
the same way that we got internet 20,
facts.
20 years later, the same way we got microwaves, the same
Facts.
like so these are things that are going to come if these are new technologies with new
Facts.
energy sources. Yeah.
Facts. And what I'm saying is that I can't see a non-paradigm shifting thing after this event. Like, we're either going to get new tech or we're going to be like, these are aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's new tech, that's great. But it's like the old world is dead. This light is crazy right now, right? It's like, it's because the sun is just
Yeah,
hitting
yeah,
me.
yeah.
If you listen to like audio wise, you're like, what are you guys talking about? But like, if you jump onto video, you're gonna see me like in a crazy like I'm an alien right now, bro. But like, you see what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
that's why I'm like really not apprehensive, like curious to know what's gonna happen in 2025 and beyond. Because it's like, bro, are we about to get like there's only so many reasons why like there's only so many pathways you can go down after this thing. We're either gonna get crazy technology, we're gonna get Project Bluebeamed, or we're gonna just integrate with the aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no like you remember the traditional like if you jump that dude, honest oh, this light is crazy. Honestly, I see you like smiling, you're like, dude, you look so weird. But like you remember like the 1960s movies and stuff, like
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
time encapsulated in time, right? So if you watch one of those, you're like, dude, that's like archaic. Where that's almost like watching a night in a kingdom.
Right, right, right.
You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
from where we are now. And then I really think that we're about to jump into another thing where it's so different
Oh
than
yeah,
what we
yeah.
are now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that's why I'm like apprehensive but excited.
Mm-hmm.
Like excitedly apprehensive. This is like you don't know how this is gonna play out. There's only three options of how this can play out, and it's like which one are we gonna go towards?
So which one are we likely to go towards?
Yeah. Oh, you're asking
I'm
me?
asking you. Yeah.
Uh Craig. Uh I really feel like it I don't think it's gonna be Project Bluebeam, where it's like or so people who don't know, basically the idea is that aliens are gonna come and invade us and then we're gonna band together as a one world government and fight the aliens. That's like literally just Google Project Bluebeam.
I
They're
don't
like,
think that's gonna happen.
I don't think that's gonna happen either, but I fear that they're gonna by withholding the information, you're gonna create widespread panic.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm seeing in all these comments right now with the UFOs, like Bluebeam, Project Bluebeam, Project Bluebeam. So like we are already upset about COVID, and then if you try Project Bluebeam, it's like that's probably not going to end well for you. Distrust is already at an all-time high.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now if you do it again, it's like, bro, you guys just doubling down on your stupidity? Like, what are
Hmm.
we doing? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So like, I don't think that they're gonna try it, but I do think people are gonna panic because they don't know what this is.
Sure. Yeah.
Like you and I are like, okay, it's probably tech, or it's like, oh, it's aliens, whatever, whatever, right? Imagine if you had no conception of what's going on and you just saw these things in the sky. You're like, what is this Independence
Oh yeah,
Day?
yeah.
You
Right.
could only reference movies,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? So we need to change the narrative of movies, or else we're going to be like, it's War
Hmm.
of the Worlds, they're invading, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure there are people right now in New Jersey who are freaking out. Dude, if you were like, hey, aliens are there, nobody's going to work. They're like, what?
Hmm.
I'm staying home. You know, gotta protect my wife and kids.
Yeah, yeah.
But what they're
There's a scene. I think I saw a meme slash scene. It was like from Independence Day, where it's like people are freaking out because they saw something in the sky, which is the
yeah.
big alien ship. It was just like how people were reacting. It's just like, why go to work? It's done.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I really think that that's what would happen. Like people would freak out and they'd just be like,
Sure.
dude, I would chill with my family. Like, what are we doing? It's the
Yeah.
end of days, you know? And then there are like religious people that are like, oh, it's the end of days. These are like, which is really like, I trust no video on the internet right now
Hmm.
because it's like, that's just, you can just AI that, right? But I did see this one video of like a close up of the UAP and it was like spinning like wheels. And then the next picture was like Ezekiel's wheels from the Bible. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting that you're like pairing the two. Like,
Hmm.
is this what Ezekiel saw in the Bible? You know, and it's like, have they been with us the entire time?
Right.
Maybe, you know, are
Hmm.
they,
Hmm.
maybe they are like an advanced water civilization. And all right, let's go into speculation now. So, because this is a great segue into it. So, one thing that they're saying is like, if they are water civilizations, they're watching the escalation between like our war, you know, like Russia, Ukraine, uh, China, us, you know, not us, like America. And they're like, oh, are they getting out of hand? So now they're like showing themselves as an act of like power kind of thing.
Hmm.
That's one theory. And I'm like, maybe. But the more realistic theories are what's freaking me out, bro. So one thing that they said is the lights. All right. So like why would you have drones out at night unless you're looking for radio active like you can't use a drone at night because it has no visuals. Like you can but like the return cuz like you use drones if you're looking for something, if you're trying to see something. Right? But at night, it's harder to see things. So it's like, why would you have the drone out at night? Right? But you can scan for things with drones. And what allegedly happened is there was supposed to be a warhead that was in transit towards New Jersey, and then we lost it. And then all these drone sightings like popped up. So it could be America's like, bro, we lost a nuke. Send the drones, find the freaking nuke, because we might have an explosion in New York.
Hmm.
Have you heard that one?
Yeah, that's the one you sent me, right?
Oh, okay, cool, cool. How freaky is that, bro? Could you imagine if that's like,
But
what are we doing, bro?
they have a different way of detecting that without having to use drones necessarily, right?
But maybe it's like to the point of, remember, you still love 24,
Yeah.
right? And like, it was always like, we got to stop this before,
Sure.
it gets
Sure. Sure.
crazy. It's like, what if it's hit that point? We're like, dog, it's crazy now. We
Hmm.
need to just deploy what we have because if we don't figure this out, we have the potential of New York City exploding from a nuke.
No, I understand that, but
I
it was,
know,
yeah,
dude.
I got that, yeah, yeah. But you can fly drones in the night. I think is more the reason that if they do test, if it's testing, the reason to do it at night is you have less air traffic.
Right. But okay, so let's go with the testing hypothesis. You don't think that they would tell people like them if this was testing and it was on the news, the government would just be like, yeah, it's just drone testing. They haven't said that though.
Right.
So I don't think there's validity in like drone testing because like you're testing drones willy nilly.
Yeah, I don't know
Like
how the if they don't want to report on what they're testing, But it's not
But
willy nilly, right? What do you mean by willy nilly?
no, because they're like, literally the FBI, like you can watch these videos of like senators, FBI people. We have no idea what this is. We reached out to them,
Hmm.
like nobody knows. But you could say like, oh, don't worry about it, people.
Yeah, if they can
We got
say,
this under
yeah, don't
control.
worry about it. Yeah, that's what we're
Who
saying,
said
that
that
they
though?
know what it
Nobody
is.
said that though. Like they're like, it's not a threat.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're like, okay,
That
that's
means they know
interesting.
what it is if you're saying that it's not a threat, right? That's what we said last week.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, totally. But then like you don't think they would just say, oh, it's just drone testing?
Um,
And on a mass scale like this, kind of weird too. It's like you're just massive drone testing? Like what?
we don't know. Like again, that's the thing. It's like, is that true that it's a mass testing, or now because with the, everybody wants to find out what it is. It could be just people's own hobbyist drones trying to get into close-up looks or whatever that we
Right. Right.
miscategorize it as.
No, I
Right.
right. But then I explained to you the ones that like there's no heat signature. It it's using a lot of power and it's staying up for hours.
Hmm.
So it's like that's not really a hobbyist drone at that point.
Right.
So like, what are those ones?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
I get the hobbyist one, and they have a traditional signature, which is like they make a sound, et cetera, et cetera. That's why when you see like different UAPs, if it's emitting a sound, I'm like, okay, that's just our tech. But it's the ones that they're seeing that are just orbs. They're like, what's that orb, bro?
Hmm.
And those are the ones I care about, not like the regular ones. Did you even see? Do you see the thing where they put like a ban on drones or something at like a certain period?
Yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah. Because it was
just
just
raised
getting, yeah, because people were just using hobbyist
overwhelming.
drones and people mis identifying them.
Right. So they put a ban on it, but these things are still out there. So you're like, okay.
Hmm.
So then it's not commercial drones,
Yeah, no,
right?
yeah,
So
it's
what is it,
military or
bro?
private
Oh,
stuff.
sure,
Yeah.
military, whatever, but like I feel like they would give you a better announcement than we don't know what this is. Like, all right, for example, the best example. So remember the Phoenix lights?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
97
yeah, yeah.
all over Phoenix, like a triangle shaped object. So they said it was a flare test from the military.
Hmm.
And that's why, but then people were like, well, the flare would drop. It's been up for 4 hours. Like, what are you talking about? See what I'm saying? So it's like they would report that it's a military thing. They've done it in the past.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know if like military testing's on the table because they've used that before.
Hmm.
Unless it's like so covert military. Like I don't know. Like what do you
I
like?
don't
You
know.
think
I
it's
don't know. I have no idea if that's only
no, no, but,
way.
but no, but using the military thing in the past,
Hmm.
it's like that kind of invalidates that argument of oh, it could be a military test. It's like, but they've told us in the past that
Hmm.
the Phoenix lights were a military test. So it's like, why don't you just use it again? Why don't you just tell people again? You know, what I'm saying is that invalidates that argument.
Okay.
Or do you disagree? Or you disagree? I don't know.
I don't know the. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Sure.
Like what do you mean you don't know? Like,
Um, there's different exercises that different agencies do. What requires um being told what they're testing or not. Like I don't know if DARPA has to do anything to do with that.
maybe, maybe. Okay, maybe. I'll put that as a maybe. But like the fact that they said in the past with the
Hmm.
Phoenix Lights saying like, oh, it's a military flare exercise, you're like, okay, like
Yeah, did they say that
theoretically,
at the time or did it come
yeah,
out
they did,
later?
they did. No, because people were freaking out, bro. It was on the news, and then like I remember watching it, and like they were just like, oh, military exercise, blah blah blah, and then the Congress people didn't believe it.
Hmm.
They're like, we've seen military tech. This is not military tech. Like, there's no flare that stays up in the air. They all fall. And then you had like all these reports of these military people saying that it's a lie, that
Right,
it
right, right,
was
right.
military tests. So like, yeah. Okay. So the bomb idea is freaking me out. And then another one that's freaking me out was like if it is China's stuff and you're like, we know where it's coming from, it's not a threat because it's like the balloon. Remember like the Chinese spy balloon?
Hmm.
Well, that wasn't a threat either because it's just watching you. You know, it's like if this is a foreign military's thing, but they're saying it's not a threat, we know where it comes from, in order to not like
Right.
basically declare war because you're like, oh, it's in our space. Like that's also freaky because then it's like we're so behind in our tech that like another country is like completely overshadowing us.
Hmm.
Like what do you think about that?
I
If
don't
it's
think
like
so. I don't think
you
America's
really
behind
don't
on
think so,
tech.
eh?
I
Like
really
there's
don't
no
think so.
way.
No. Ever since we've been watching this whole chip war situation, I don't think that we're behind it, or America's not behind in tech, in the military at least.
Yeah.
I don't think that's
Okay.
possible.
Oh, you mean China? Like
I don't think China's ahead in that sense. No.
yeah. Okay. Okay. What do you think about all right, so this one is like kind of freaking me out as well. And like this is kind of my own theory now, but what if it's and somebody said this before and I was like, I don't know, but now I'm kind of like, what if it is? What if it's AI? What I'm like what I mean
Right.
by that is so they said that they created a what is it like a quantum processing chip.
Okay.
Okay, and like what theoretically you can do. So all of this really started around like 19 sorry, like early 2000s. That's when you saw like the go fast, the gimbal, all that stuff, right? And like one thing that like remember Y2K when they're like, "Oh, it's the end of the world."
Hmm.
What if it was the end of the world, not in the sense that like tech was going to shut down, but it was the end of the world because they created a quantum computer at that time. We don't know if it's true or not, but they created a quantum computer. Okay. We like, I don't know exactly when in the timeline, but they have one allegedly that they created.
Hmm.
But the thing is, if you create a quantum computer, you can send information back in time. Theoretically, that's what they're saying because like the quantum atoms are linked, so you could potentially send information back in time
Hmm.
through that quantum computer. So what if it's AI sending information back and creating these like
Or they're doing a
shit
test. Maybe it's a test from the future that's affecting the
onto
past.
us? It could be too.
Right.
Yeah. Like, yeah, that's true too.
Like being like if it's just like let's say it's a future and that's also where the all these drone companies are, right? If it's a future drone company that's from that area and they're testing it, it's like affecting the
Yeah.
past in the same area, right?
Oh, that would be so gnarly. It sounds so ridiculous. You're like like back in time travel, and then you're like, no, but that's literally what they said how quantum stuff
Hmm.
works. Like two atoms are linked, independent of each other, independent of space, and like they're able to communicate,
Hmm.
two atoms. And then like they found out that that link can also happen across time.
Right.
So it's like, bro, do you have some weirds? Is this, are we in a sci-fi movie? You know what I mean? Like, bro, what's
Yeah.
going on? Like it's so easy to say, yeah, it's just tech. Yeah, it's just like a military drone. Like, what if it's way more crazy than that? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like,
Hmm.
that's what was also freaking me out because like, okay, like I get like, yeah, they're scanners scanning for WMD. Okay, yeah, it's just like reverse engineered technology from alien crafts. Okay, that's they're all logical. But now like what if you get really wacky and it's like, dude, they're from the future coming to the past
Hmm.
now to like, set something in motion.
Sure.
Because once you've
Right.
created a quantum once you've like what they said is once you've created a quantum computer in one timeline, it can connect to a future timeline
Hmm.
or a future time. So it's like that means we're linked from the future and like this moment to that moment.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like is there some temporal war going on and is Tenet real? You know what I mean? Like, bro, that's the
Hmm.
plot of Tenet.
Right.
Like what? Like, like would that? Do you see that logically being potentially possible? And what would that fucking mean, bro? Like what we're doing? You know, like, dude, this is crazy.
Who knows? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I've seen stories like that. I mean, like in sci-fi world, where it's just like to send things to fix or to get ready for us in the future.
Right? Like, is
Hmm.
this Terminator, bro? Like, what are we talking about
Who
here?
knows? Yeah.
And then, like, with the way AI is driving us in terms of like our understanding and what we see,
Hmm.
and then like AI art, I'm like, oh, I can't even trust anything I see anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, are we just like completely like, are we at the, are we in the hands of technology?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like from a social perspective, it's like we're so integrated with tech. I'm obsessed with my phone. Our algorithms like are
Yeah, yeah,
controlled,
yeah.
you know? Um, even now video, you can't even trust what you're seeing as
Mm.
video
Hmm.
or audio.
Right.
You know, we even talked about how like if you have like 15 minutes of somebody talking, you can create like a whole dialogue. Well, they have hours and hours of you and I talking. So it's like, what does that mean?
Right.
Bro, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what is going on? Are is technology the devil, bro? Like,
It can be. Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
it's
Like,
there are
bro, when
chances.
you really think about it, you're like,
Hmm.
are we dealing with a demon? Like, is technology like, do we awaken a demon? Not in the sense of like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
the traditional sense, like the mental demon, you know?
Yeah, yeah. We were. You see, yeah, we create things in a sense of positive thinking that we're creating these things, but we don't realize the ramifications or issues that come out of that.
Yeah.
Right.
And now we're like, dude, I can't trust anything I read or see. You're like, what? What does that mean? Dude, potentially like AI is coming back in time to mess with our timeline. What?
Hmm.
Like, for as much, oh, you know what it is? It's Taoism, bro. It's like equal opposite. So as much good as we receive from the internet, there's just as much bad. So it's like
Hmm.
if we're like, oh my God, I could work from home, I can like do my banking, you and I can chat all the time. It's like these are a lot of goods. But what is the opposite end of that good?
Right.
Because they're equal opposite,
There has to be something. Yeah, a reaction to that.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, are we are we in the midst of being enslaved by is was the Matrix a documentary? You know, I've been
There's
seeing
a
that a lot
lesson.
in the news.
It's been they've been mentioning that from that time, so they kind of saw something.
Yeah, where it was going, right?
Yeah.
And James Cameron, he's the one who made Terminator, right?
Yes.
I don't know if I sent you that video, but he was like, well, maybe it's AI, maybe it's not even real. No, 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 but like it was an
Yeah.
interview. You
No,
know what I'm
I
talking about?
saw. Yeah, yeah, I saw the video, but it was cut up so much though.
True. Maybe it's just like
It's just like
internet editing. Yeah,
splicing. What
yeah,
like
true,
did he
true.
actually say those things or like?
So people who don't know, basically James Cameron was talking about how what he invented with Terminator is nothing compared to what he's seeing today, and he's more freaked out about what he's seeing today than Terminator. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what does that mean, bro?
I don't know if he said that, but
Jesus.
it was so cut up
Yeah,
though.
you don't know
That
because it's
was
cut
my.
up, right? Right.
It was so cut up.
Yeah, that's why for me, I'm just like, I really think this. I think on a daily basis, this is what I really think. Actually, now they're like really solidifying it and what we know about demons and stuff. I think every single day you're fighting a demon.
Hmm.
Like you are a mental demon, not a physical one. But like good and bad is always playing itself out. And the more you choose good, the more good gets fed and more good things happen in this world. The more you choose bad, the more bad things happen in this world. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's what we have to like when they say like fighting against evil. It's like yeah, in your life, bro.
Hmm.
Because like imagine the coder. If like let's say
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know the good and bad war. So it's like what can I do in my life that will help support positive things,
Hmm.
right? And then like the coder is like asking themselves that. So like, do I really want to make this AI sentient right now? Do I really want to, you know what I mean? Do I really want to bring down the American government? Do I really want, you know? That's the war that they're fighting. But if we're all fighting, is if we realize we're fighting a war on a daily basis, like you can only move it in the positive direction of good because all of it stacks up together.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm. This is so stupid. So not stupid, but like funny. It's like basically the story. So I was running upstairs at groceries yesterday, and then I had to walk Athena, and I knew Tara was waiting for me. But then there's this old lady. Remember the old lady with the walking chair?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember on our floor before when you used to live here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was like trying to open the. She was walking towards the garbage chute,
Yeah.
and I was like, hey, you throwing your garbage? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, hey, let me hold the door open for you. And then I was holding it, and then she's like, oh, that's so nice of you. Okay, you can shut it now. And I was like, no, no, let's throw it out. Like, 'cause she had a walker, bro. So I'm like, throw it. I don't want you to be trapped in there. So I'm like, let me hold this open. You throw it out, and then like you come outside.
Yeah.
And then as she was leaving, she's like, oh, you're such a kind soul. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I laughed, and I was like, that was the battle.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
like, do I run inside because I know I gotta walk Athena and like Tara's waiting, or do I help this old lady by holding it open? She like reminded me like you're a kind soul,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that is the energy I want to put out into the world,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
But that's the battle. Imagine if I hadn't done that, or like, what are you doing, old lady? Then she's gonna take that negative energy and she's gonna do something negative, and like, you know,
Sure.
you don't know the domino effect of your small daily actions,
Mm-hmm.
but it all stacks up to something,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I think those things matter.
Right?
Yeah.
This is a
Because
great story.
people
Yeah.
are interacting less and less like together, I think,
Yeah.
and then you're not seeing the kindness of others,
That's what I mean, bro.
and we're forgetting that aspect, and so internet is our only way to connect to other people, which is just showing us evil.
It's what I mean, bro. This is exactly what I mean. It's like you're being co-opted
Mm-hmm.
by like the technology demon,
Yeah.
bro. Like
Yeah.
you're in this rabbit hole. I'm just watching UFO stuff. I'm like, oh my God. But like when it comes down to it, it's your daily actions. Totally. There's UFOs in New Jersey right now. Totally. There might be a crazy cabal of people trying to keep us under. But how did those demons get there?
Mm-hmm.
Through like collective actions.
Right.
You know, like Puff Daddy was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then the people at the party were like, yeah, we're gonna do this. These are collective actions,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then my collective action was like, I'm just gonna be nice to this old lady.
Yeah.
See what I mean? Um, yeah. And like you can do it in a small scale like that. Like I prefer small scale things. Like I'm not trying to change the
Yeah.
world
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
here. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Just
like
around your immediate surroundings, kind of thing.
but your immediate surroundings, bro.
Yeah.
But that's all that matters, bro. Just tend to your garden.
Mm-hmm.
So like I have this really cool story, and like maybe this one will become a cut. Um so like with Tara's like her like mom and daughter program.
Yeah.
So like by doing these free events, she just wanted to be like nice, like
Mm-hmm.
like obviously like there's always business components to everything, but like she was like, I just want to create a nice environment. It's her own time, her own money, driving like an hour to do like a free mom and daughter event. And then people would just like message her like this was like this was my connection with my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And like I don't get this, and like I'm going through a hard thing, blah blah, blah. And like, it's like then they're gonna take that and then they're gonna spread that,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And this is the battle. The battle's like we fight demons on a daily basis, bro.
Yeah.
And like demons get stronger through our everyday actions, like good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why I think anime is the best thing ever, because it's telling us the whole time. That is the storyline of Jujutsu Kaisen, bro. Like it's crazy, but like there's so many demons that they have to fight, but it's because there's so much mental demon. It's about mental demons. There's so many mental demons in the city. That's why there's so many demons in the city, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's real, but it's an analogy, but it's real. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we all think it's like kiddie stuff.
Yeah, because it's a cartoon. That's why we've.
Hey man, anime is not cartoons. No, but you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
we
yeah,
like
yeah.
delegitimize it,
Of course, yeah.
and like we like bring we highlight other negative components to society. But it's like, bro, just look at the good things, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah, small actions every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tula, what time we at?
For 59.
Oh, nice. Okay. Any other things about UAPs being good? Just gotta be a kind person, bro. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, no, nothing else. No.
No? Okay. Um,
I
okay.
think,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a downer, but we're privileged to have drones around New Jersey and not technically be scared because there's nothing really exactly happening.
That's
Big,
true, bro.
but like
That's true,
Itchy
though.
Boots is like in Kurdistan, Iraq, and she's like she can't fly drones because they have a different meaning of drones over there.
Great segue. Well, look at you with the segues. Good job. Good job. That was the next topic. Um, okay, yeah, totally. So we forget that we have so much privilege. And
Yeah.
it's like, dude, when you show me itchy boots, I'm just like, what is going on? We we really need to uphold Western society, not in like a colonial, like whatever way. It's
Mm-hmm.
just law and order, bro. People who don't know Itchy Boots is, she's like this woman who like drives a motorbike around different countries, and then right now she's in where is it? She went
Kur-
from Turkey to Iraq.
yeah, Kurdistan, Iraq.
Yeah. So like when you see that, bro, you're like, this is not how I want to live, right? And like actually, I made a note about this to bring it up, but uh in Mecca, there's a McDonald's.
Right.
You showed me that, and I was like, oh, we all just want to be like Americanized. Like Americanization is westernized. No, westernization is Americanization. Like the spread of McDonald's is a great example of like the mastery of like the epitome of human kindness is McDonald's, bro. No, but really, it's like so
Right,
funny.
right.
It's like, you know, but like for real though. So you can find McDonald's everywhere. And when you say everywhere, you mean even in Mecca, bro. Like what? When you said that there was in Mecca, I'm like, they don't even eat meat, bro. Like
Well, they
what?
do eat meat, but
No, no, but like you're not cow, right? So
no,
pig. So
pork, pork. They don't eat
no,
pork.
no pork. Yeah. So like, all right, sort of remove that off the menu. But like looking at McDonald's as a case example for westernization is like that's the epitome, bro.
Hmm.
We all just want the McDonald's. You know, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
we can even take it for granted. No, you notice we all want fast food. We all want to live the American dream.
Hmm.
You know what? So my parents are so like I really appreciate the way my parents lead by example. And what I mean by that is this. They held a Christmas party for their workers. They're just sending me photos. And they're like, yeah, because like, you know, they don't have that much. So like
Hmm.
this stems from like my mom's dad, because she used to have like dolls, and then
Okay.
her like, you know, like dolls. And then like her dad was in the military, and he'd always be like, there's so many poor kids, give your doll away. My mom, like, she holds on to this trauma. She's like, I never had a doll. I never got to keep a doll. And you're just like, here, mom, say, here's a doll. You know what I mean? But she's willing to give things away because like that's just
Yeah.
how she was raised, right? And then like so she sent us this photo of they held a Christmas party for the workers and their kids. They were so happy. So I'm like, oh, what are they eating? Jollibee, bro. And I'm like, oh, we all just want that like fast food. Like we want to feel Americanized.
Right.
But seeing that, I'm like, oh, it could have been McDonald's. Like they could have
Yeah.
swapped out Jollibee for McDonald's. Like it's just the Filipino version of
Hmm.
McDonald's,
Hmm.
you know? And like that's what we crave the most, bro. Like law, order, comfort, amenities.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on like the simplest level, I want to go to the bathroom and have like toilet paper, bro.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like and people are like, dude, that's you go to anyone here and they're like, that's crazy. We're like, have you traveled?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, that's not, you know?
Right.
And like thinking about it in that way, it's like, who wouldn't want to uphold? I get why the army people are so gung ho about America
Mm-hmm.
because they see it, like Tim Kennedy, this UFC fighter, jiu-jitsu black belt. He talks about it all the time that like I will die for freedom. You're like, what do you mean die for freedom, bro? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're nodding because because we know now. Like you see itchy boots, like we don't see that on a daily basis,
No, no,
bro.
no, no. Yeah, you don't.
Unless you like YouTube it, like you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, but we've experienced it. We've at least gone to our countries and
yeah,
seeing some things, right? But like,
totally.
we're just getting visually from Itchy Boots her experience. But people are still nice. It's just there's structure that we're so comfortable that's over here that we're used to. That's not
Right.
there.
Facts, bro. And it's like you can't you can't love freedom and not support the military industrial complex, bro. It sounds so crazy to
That's
say it
true.
like that, but you're like, no, they're literally protecting us, bro. Like, you
See,
know what's actually
the
insane?
reason
Okay.
the reason why all these bases are there around the world, it's to keep our seas in order so that everything, all our markets, our economy,
Yeah,
just
bro.
moves smoothly.
That it's like you are naive if you don't think that we need an army, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
like, oh god, why are we paying so much in the military? Whatever, whatever. And it's like they're protecting us, bro.
Hmm.
Okay, so I heard this thing. There's a guy, Everyday Spy, become one of my favorite people to listen to, Andrew Bustamante, and he was on this podcast with Sean Ryan, and they were talking about the military-industrial complex, right? And Sean Ryan's like, "Oh, should we really invest in the military-industrial complex, whatever?" Right? And then what? What Andrew? He worked for the CIA for a long time. He worked in like he's done operations like in third world countries, and then he's done operations in Western countries. And he was saying that like what we're just saying, which is like you don't. He brought up this horrific example of like the drug cartel like cutting off a woman's breasts in order to stuff it with
Right.
drugs and sew it back on just so they can get it across the border. Like, what are you saying, bro?
Hmm.
Like that's like demonic.
Hmm.
That's a demon right there, you know?
Yeah.
So like he was saying like when you see that, that's crazy. But then what he's saying about the military industrial complex is the secondary benefits of that. And I was like, what are you talking? I never heard about this or never thought about this. He's like logistics, McDonald's. When we go into another another country, what do those soldiers need?
Hmm.
Tim Hortons, McDonald's, Subway.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they also need transportation. Okay, roadways.
Hmm.
You're actually building up infrastructure in order to set up the military.
Hmm.
And he's like, those create other jobs. So when you think like, oh yeah, you're just creating bombs and like whatever, no, the military industrial complex supports
Yeah. There's so
secondary
many
things
things.
too.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, damn, when you put it like that, makes total sense. Because we're like, oh yeah, we just invest in the military. It's like investing in the military is investing more than the military.
Hmm.
You're investing in like literally infrastructure.
Yeah.
But then what freaked me out was like, because then I saw this, which is, like the Rothschilds or something, like all those these big families with like lots of money, they support a lot of this infrastructure building. That's how they make like a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
So what they're saying is that a lot of they become westernized through this infrastructure building, and
Hmm.
like it's not really about blowing people up. It's about indoctrinating them to the Western culture. And you're like, what do you mean? Itchy Boots last week, you showed me in when she was in Iran, a mall.
Not Iran.
Bro,
Iraq.
Iraq. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Iraq. Um, a
And
mall,
mall.
bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just like, wait, a mall with like shopping stores and like shoes for sale and vendors. And you're like, that's America, bro.
Hmm.
But like,
Right, right. Yeah, yeah,
well, that's a different country. But I thought you guys don't like them. No, we all want law, order, amenities. We all
yeah.
want that American dream.
Right. Yeah.
That's why we need to keep America on top, bro. And I really believe this now. I'm just like, before I was like, oh yeah, what if the superpower shift, whatever, whatever. It's like, sure, but we've never seen a world where Russia's in control, a world where China's in control. Like, even Russia and China have malls. They have McDonald's, bro. Like,
Hmm.
America is literally the back. Like, this world is Americanized,
Hmm.
right? They are the greatest country on earth because they spread McDonald's to Mecca, bro. What are we doing? Like, that was crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
You have a mall in Iraq. What are we doing, bro?
Hmm.
Like when you showed me like the vendor stalls and like um what was it? The she was getting like
Soup. Yeah.
chickpeas
Yeah. Yeah.
soup. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what I expect. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But when you see like Western things there and then people loving it, you're like, we all want this. I
Hmm.
get it now.
Yeah.
You know? Which is mind-boggling because you're just like, oh, not everyone has this. And we take it for
We
granted,
take it for
bro.
granted. Yeah. We take it for
Like crazy granted.
yeah.
And I was just like, what are we doing? Yeah. Anyways, any other takeaways from Itchy Boots that you could think of or bring up?
No, I mean it's just it's interesting. Yeah, just the people are really nice because they
Yeah,
wanna. Nobody wants war. War is just devastating.
exactly. Yeah. Like human, like at our core, we just want to protect the ones we love. We just want to like,
Hmm.
you know, do regular things, bro. I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to buy a coffee at Starbucks in the morning. Like
Hmm.
not me, but like them, you
Sure.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw this in a movie once,
Yeah. Hmm.
like I've actually heard that before. I was like, saw this in a movie.
Yeah. Right.
And they
Yeah.
just, like they want to go to their 9 to 5 job in like the grass is always greener, which is like kind of funny too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cause like when you go there, they're like, I would love to live in a city and have this 9 to 5 job. And we're here like, oh my God, it's taking forever. And like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to disconnect and like live off the land.
Yeah. It's always like that though,
Yeah, right. It's weird to think about.
because we forget the positives. I think that's the whole idea of remembering what is actually like gratitudes. When
Yeah,
you do
true.
that, is only when you can recognize the level of stuff that we have here
Yeah,
around
that's
us.
true. Yeah, you
Right.
have to be grateful.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, grateful. Um, okay. With that, but you also have to know when you have a bad deal and you have to know when to walk away.
Sure.
You know where my segue is going now. I was gonna start with it. That's why I was kind of apprehensive in the beginning, but I was like, but in case anyone's listening to this, at least they'll have to wait till the very end to like listen to this craziness.
Right.
Okay, dog. That's why I was trying to cue it up with like, how much truth do we want to know? Right. So like, all right, I won't even just name. I'll just name it arbitrarily. If you really want to dig, you can dig into it. But like, so I love jujitsu because it's the one thing that's like it's so identifiable. It's a yes no answer.
Hmm.
Did you sub them? Yes or no. Did you control them? Yes or no. A smaller person could take on a bigger person. Right? Basic tenets.
Hmm.
And like this is the fundamentals of what jiu-jitsu is built upon. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Because like there's like Japanese jiu-jitsu which certain people have leveled up in, which is not has a completely different philosophy, right? It's not small versus big, and it's
Hmm.
not like survival based. So, so I have kind of become a big fish in a small pond. And I don't even say that arrogantly. It's just I've trained elsewhere and like gathered information so that when I use this information in a specific setting, I'm like, oh, I'm just like objectively
Hmm.
controlling
Hmm.
and tapping people out who outrank me.
Right.
So one would think that, okay, if you're able to do that, sure, like you should probably be at that level. Okay. But I didn't receive any accolade from that. You're like, oh, you're so upset about that. No, it's fine if like I don't receive an accolade from that or like a rank up from that. It's weird when the people that you've been doing that to do get that though. And
Mm-hmm.
then you're like, that's interesting. Why did everyone get one and also the people I'm out like
Sure.
performing
Yeah.
who are higher than me get one, get like a
Mm-hmm.
accolade or a rank up. Um, and then you get told it's because it's not just about progress. It's about friendship and community and being there for one another. And this is what it's based upon.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell paid for this?
Right.
I didn't know I was signing up for a friendship club, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I should bring my friendship bracelet beads next time and we can all just like kumbaya.
Right.
This is and you know what was said too? So when I told you, like listen to the last podcast where it's like, um, when I train, I'm zoned in, I'm locked in. I'm like, dude, this is all we're doing. Cause I come from a very traditional martial arts background, who was also kind of culty. So this all makes sense to me, but it's like time to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
That mindset doesn't matter. I was training with someone who or just all the time witness. And it's just like, they'd rather have a conversation than train,
Mm-hmm.
but their friendship is on point. Because of the conversation. So I'm like, oh, interesting. So it's like, so it's more about talking on the mats than training on the mats.
Right.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's not the foundation of what martial arts is built upon, nor is this the primary focus of this art.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, when are we being scammed? And now I feel like we're being scammed. And as this podcast will be a testament to it, I am going to be I just decided like I'm like because I was on the fence for a while. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna bite the bullet and do it. 10th Planet Etobicoke. I'll be signing up for you in the new year, and I'll be focusing. And I was on their Instagram because I was like, oh, this is really like weighing heavy on me. I like woke up at like 5:30. This I was like, oh, we should like
Sure.
do that. I'm
Yeah.
ready for the podcast whenever. And like I was like, is this the best move? What's the best move? Because I was just like, I know I have to leave. And like when I was scrolling through their Instagram account, again, surprise promotions. There's no test belt days. And when I saw the promotion video, like he didn't even promote people now. It was like it was at a seminar. He just his teacher showed up. So he's like, oh cool, like I'll just give away some belts because you're here. And then he was saying like these purple, brown, and blue belts that you see in front of you, this is the standard. Like when you're wondering what we should train to, like aspire to be like them. And I was like, exactly, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is the ethos of this art that we're studying. And they all look like killers. And like you could see it in the way that they roll. I'm just saying that like Farasa Hobby warned us all about this, which is like they're going to McDojo,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Right. Right.
know.
Right.
If you're listening to this and you think I'm just like a petty dick, maybe I'm petty, who knows? But like just watch Joe Rogan and Farasa Hobby talk about it, the watering down of the martial arts system. And it's like when you base it upon that stuff, it's like, what are we doing now?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. And I was also on the fence too, because like technique wise, there's been a bunch of questionable moments. Like last Thursday, or this past Thursday, there was this move that was being taught. And then, as the Uki, if you don't know what that is like the crash test dummy. So you're
Okay.
like, oh, you play it up, tap, 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 right? So we're all trying this move. We're like, oh, I can't get it. I can't get it. And then like, so the person in charge is like, come here, I'll show you. Couldn't tap anyone with the move. And I was like, that's weird. And they were all like ragging on him a bit. I just kept my mouth shut. I'm like, noted. He's like, oh, it just doesn't work on you. Oh, you just have this. Oh, you just, so I'm like, So if you just like, you know what I mean? Like, so we're on the street and like, it's like, remember my first martial arts place? Hold my wrist like this, not like that, like this. No,
Right.
other hand.
Yeah.
You're like, bro, so what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
It only works on this body type, on this level of gi work, you know?
Right.
Yeah. This I think that we are hitting an unhealthy because like jujitsu is becoming super popular, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everyone's doing
Of
it, like
course.
freaking,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
all these celebrities are doing it. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I want to sign up, but it's like it's really you have to pay attention. Like I think that, and this is also a bad sign too, when your highest ranking people are starting to leave. Like
Mm-hmm.
like you know what I mean? Like I remember when I first started, there was like a ton of like brown belts, purple belts, and they were killers. You're like, oh my god, this guy's like tapped me out like no tomorrow. Then they left, and you're like, that's kind of weird. And then now I'm in that position. I'm like, oh, I'm leaving too. I'm like, I get it now. Because like once you get the foundation, you're like, I can't take this any further.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. I
Any
mean, yeah. You went through that
marketing, bro?
experience. Yeah. 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 Of
Crazy.
course. Yeah.
Which is like sad. Yeah.
Or just the
Marketing
realities
matters.
of
But that's what I
what
mean. It's
happens.
like, but this is the thing. I could have just stayed. I'm like, all right, keep my mouth shut. Accept this as like a learning lesson. You know, be more friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not here to make friends, bro. Like, what are we doing? You know, like,
Right. Right.
yeah. Which is like the ethos of a lot of like. There's one thing. The reason why I want when I traveled and did jujitsu, like how I always travel and do jujitsu, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're always 10th planet classes only because one, they're super chill, and two, you don't have to bring a uniform. It's like no gi.
Right.
So I just show up in like it's easier to travel and pack with, right? And like that, the ethos of what they created at 10th Planet was like, just don't be a dick and make sure that the technique works. So I was like, who wouldn't want that, bro?
Mm-hmm.
Just don't be a dick and make sure the technique works.
Yeah.
But we want friendship and community out here. What are we talking about, bro?
Yeah, you're doing that
like
so
church,
that you can
bro.
get people to stay.
Facts. No, facts though. But it's like
There's
you've
another way
lost-
too.
You lose the real people though.
Yeah.
No, because this is the thing. Like Tara was like, "Why do you care so much?" I'm like, this is crazy lighting again. That's weird. So Tara's like, "Why do you care so much?" And I'm like, "Because you don't know how much it hurts. Like physically, I'm like destroying my body to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not based on merit, it's based on friendship. What are we doing out here, bro?
Mm.
Like, why am I breaking my body? I could just show up. He even said that too. Show up. You don't need to try hard. Just show up though, because it's about the people. It's about the people we see.
Right.
I was like, oh my god. All right. So I don't even need to try. Yeah. Marketing.
Mm.
All right. That was my little rant. Jesus is not happy with me right now. So he's like just hitting me with he's like, you petty little prick, bro. Look at this. I'm gonna give you the worst lighting as you give this little monologue about your anger. But like, yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Lighting effects. That's all it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right. Till next week. Any last things?
No, it's Christmas.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, totally. I didn't even think about that. Well, I gotta go Christmas shopping. That's why. But yeah. All right. Till next week. Merry Christmas, Fish. Even though you're like a Diwali man. So
Sure.
Merry Diwali.
There's nothing wrong with being more merry.
That's right.
During the holidays.
Yeah. Or on the daily basis.
On the daily
You gotta be kind and merry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it is. All right. Take it easy, Fish.
Later.
Peace. All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.